Hi everybody and welcome to the Insomnia Running Club podcast. I'm your host Mark Gallagher. Today we are going to talk all about why I love to run. So there's the very obvious reasons. It is one of the best exercises I know for losing weight. It's fantastic for maintaining weight and obviously just improving your fitness. But it's more the other things you get from running that appeal to me more than anything. You know, the less obvious things with running. You know, some of the best conversations I've had, some of the most sort of inspiring moments, some of the best wake up calls, some of the most challenging moments, some of the most incredible moments shared are when running. You know, you can break running down into so many different categories. I especially love long distance endurance running. The maximum distance I have ran so far, well, officially ran, is 26.2 miles. Though I did get lost at an Ironman and I racked up. The Garmin showed it was near close to 30 mile. That was racked up. So an unofficial ultra as well. And the very first marathon I took part in was the 2019 Belfast City Marathon, which if anybody hasn't heard, they made a bit of a balls up with the distances and everybody had to run a wee bit extra. But here it was all good. We all got through it, and it was magic. But the thing I love most about distance running is the challenge of it. In everyday modern life, it doesn't seem a normal thing to do to go and run a marathon. It doesn't seem normal to challenge yourself also to do back-to-back marathon, or it doesn't seem normal to run around a 1 mile track for 24 hours, nor does it seem normal to run from point A to point B being 100 miles away. Though this is the world of running now. This year, I'll talk more about it in my blog and things like that, but this year I plan to do a few ultra runs. Now that sounds mental to some people. One of those is a 100 mile race. You have 30 hours to complete it. You start at point A and you work to point B, 100 miles away. And to most people, and people I talk to, they go, why on earth would you put yourself through that? And I suppose they have a bit of a point. But the main thing that I love about endurance running is that challenge. It has a way of building you up, thinking you're indestructible, then slowly but surely crippling you to the point where you're just exhausted. The only taste I've had of a really tough marathon was at the end of the 2019 White Bear Triathlon in Ballygolly here in Northern Ireland, and obviously it's the marathon part of it, the Iron Distance Triathlon. Started off great, you know, came out after 112 miles on the bike, which was the first time I'd ever done 112 miles on a bike, and after a very rough swim, which was great, but I was feeling good. It was, talk about being totally underprepared for a marathon. The only marathon I completed before that was the Belfast City Marathon. It was tough, but got through it in relative ease, in comparison to what this marathon taught me. This marathon was more a head game. I was in tears, I was sore, I was grumpy. It took everything mentally really to get me to the finish line. And there's so many great things from this story. So pretty much started off the Ballygolly White Bear Extreme Triathlon. You might as well say it's a marathon uphill. It is relentless. It is just brutal, the elevation gain, and for the majority of the course, the conditions. So it's all uphill. Pretty much goes up to a peak called Squat Hill, and it is tough. It's very, very tough. There's about 3,000 feet of elevation per lap. It's a 2-lap marathon course. So pretty much the way in which the race went, and again, it's one of the things I'll talk to you about later on, was I came off the bike, went to go for a run. A training partner, a guy who I run with, a fellow called Ivan Smith, was there waiting for me in the transition. Little did I know, I thought Ivan was there for a bit of encouragement, pass me a Mars bar and a bit of water and say, all the best son, have a good one, you know, get up that hill and back down again. Ivan being Ivan talked to the race director. I had no mission of winning the race. He asked if he could run and get a few miles in for the day with me, which is just the norm. That's our training run. So starts off, Ivan thinks he's gonna run a few miles with us, and we're uphill and we're talking away, and the miles churn by, no bother at all. You know, it becomes relatively stress-free for the first loop, until we get to a part in the course which is called Squat Hill. I was in stinking form. My body obviously telling me, you know, you're low on fuel, you've been out here too long, you're soaking wet, you're cold, and that all came out in my my attitude, I suppose. But in fairness to Ivan, he done his best to keep me going and to keep me upbeat. But yes, that half marathon part was hell. Squat Hill, it's more or less a trail run. I encountered, as the night was starting to kick in, there was dead bloated sheep all over the place. It was bogland, my feet were soaking, I was getting cut to pieces by jaggy nettles, rough thorny flowers. It was just rough and tough. It was brutal. But we were navigating our way up this hill, kept getting the false summit. There was no, it's over there, kept getting lost, but made it to the top. On our way down from the top, you see other runners, and you're going to yourself, oh, there's someone else who's suffering just like me. Turns out these runners were on their second lap, and they were on their way to the finish line. So you go from reaching a hill thinking you're fantastic, feeling great, to there's someone who's nearly finished. Within 15-20 minutes they're done, their race is over. I still have I think at that point, once you get to the top, there's about 3 miles, I still had 16 miles to cover, and 16 miles when exhausted, freezing, cold, wet, is stinking. So in fairness to Ivan's enduring what I'm doing. I turn around to Ivan and say, Ivan, what have you had today? You know, he's still stuck with me and we've still miles to go here. He needs to run back to get to his car. So Ivan turns around and says, I wasn't expecting to do this today. I've had 2 boiled eggs and a round of toast, and I think I had a Mars bar before I got out of the car. So I'm feeling sorry for myself. A friend of mine's turned up, has decided to run a half marathon on 2 boiled eggs and a bit of toast and a Mars bar, and he was going for it. We were doing rightly. So once I heard that, I was like, right, okay, you might be sore, but there's a man who's had no fuel and he's doing it, so let's just get this done. It's 16 miles, it's the last bit of the race, you're never not gonna stop this. So yeah, just in the first half of the marathon, it's a roller coaster already. I've gone from feeling great to going, these hills are annoying me, to getting wet and cold, to being totally unprepared for the trail race, to then going, I'm going downhill now. Ivan, he's a tough man, he's running on fumes. I can do this. So as we're running down, the negative self-talk starts to creep in, and it's very bad. You know, I'm going to myself, it's getting dark, and my head starts to prey on any weakness that I have. My thought was, going down that hill it was then pitch black. We had head torches, that was grand, but it was freezing cold. It was only getting colder, and my head was going, I don't know if you should do this. I don't know if you should do this. I'll tell you why. Because if you go up there in the pitch dark by yourself, you can't. You'll get lost. With a sat nav, as is, so you get lost. Not only that, you know what will happen is you will fall over, and you will twist your ankle. And that's it. You can't provide them for your family. You can't drive because that's your job. You're a car salesman. You need to get into cars. This is irresponsible. It's irresponsible what you're doing. So it was about a mile away from the transition to go up again to do the second loop. And I was going to myself, no, this is it. I'm done. I can't tell Ivan because he ran this way with me and he'd be so disappointed. But once I get there, I'm done. I'm broke. You know, I'm not going out. So I get in and I'm low. I'm super low. Not only that, I'm anxious because I know my wife's there. I know my mother was there. My dad, my in-laws were there. Friends and family were there to support me. And I was, in my head at that time, I was quitting. I was for stopping. That was it. 13 miles to go. I wasn't doing it anymore. It was irresponsible is what my head was telling me. You're the bigger man for not doing it, because it's irresponsible. I broke into tears. I saw my wife's face, and I burst into tears. I doubled over in two, standing at the side of the road. She didn't know. She knew it meant a lot to me. She didn't know it meant that much to me, and I just had to take a wee moment to myself and have a pity party. So I'm there, and I hadn't told her that I'm not doing it, but she gathered that I was for quitting. The next thing that happened was again one of the reasons why I now look back on it and I really love running and the community of running. So that day, I kept bumping into this guy who can only be described as an absolute living legend, a man called Mark. And throughout the day at stations, he was sort of on my heels, but he was, I could tell he just was wiser than me. I was gung-ho. This man had a strategy, he had a plan, he had it under control. He was suffering, he was hurting, but he had it under the control. This was a man in his 60s. I later went on to find out that he's just an endurance sport junkie, you might as well say. He done his first iron distance triathlon when he turned 40. He done another one when he turned 50, and he turned 60, and this was his treat to himself. He would do a real tough race. But in between times, he has done massive canoe races covering 300 miles. He does, I think he said it was an average about 20 marathons in a year. The man was just a machine. But what happened was, Mark, I'm doubled in two in the car park, feeling sorry for myself, about to go and tell my family and friends that that's it, I'm throwing in the towel. And I see Mark come in, and he just has this steely gaze and just this focus. And he must have sensed, he must have saw it all over me that I wasn't in a good place. And he just turned around and says, "You alright?" And I says, no mate, I'm not okay. He says, "You're not thinking of quitting?" I went, don't know. To which he said, "Right, do you know what to do? Come on over with me, I'm going to get something to eat. I need someone to help me out." So I went, helped him out. He didn't need any help. He was just taking my mind off things. To which he was getting water in himself. He was getting prepared. And I was like, "You come back out again?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I'm going back out again. You know, this is the last bit. You've suffered all day, you know, just do it and that's it, done." And I was like, my God, it's irresponsible for you to go out to your man in your 60s. And then I started to then question myself. So there's this man, this super hard, tough man, you know, twice my age, not quite twice my age, but very nearly twice my age. And he just had twice the experience, he just had twice the wisdom, and he just had twice the leadership of anybody at that point. He just knew exactly what to do. Didn't tell me to do anything. Give me a moment, said, get that fuel in you, you know, and I'm eating and I'm there, and all of a sudden, it didn't seem as once I just took a couple of minutes, it didn't seem as big a challenge. I had it built up in my head that it was such a challenge to get going again. And he just broke it down. And he said, I'm going up there, you know. I said, right, okay. So then my next thought, which came from a bolt from the blue, I didn't realise it was so nice. I thought to myself, I can't actually go away from here knowing that this man in his 60s is going to climb up that with just one head torch. I thought to myself, do you know what? I need to go up there with you. I can't let you go up there alone. He was only just too happy to oblige. He said, well, we'll do it together. He said, if you need the motor on, you motor on, son. I'm like, chances are I'm going to be sticking right beside you. So that was it. Within the space of 5 minutes of chill out, I went from quitting, ready to hand in the towel, or throwing the towel, to I'm going to do this. We have another 13 miles to do. It's in the bag. I even got some spurs for him. I think someone chucked him a Mars bar or a Cliff bar or something, and he went, you know what, I'm going up just for the crack. So all of a sudden, there's 3 people in the pitch black countryside. I got lost already. I wasn't going to be the navigator, but the crack we had and the stories we told and how easy them 13 miles became uphill was incredible. You know, we talked about everything. He talked about how he had this group of friends and they were running club, and they had ran, I think he said it was for something like 30 years. They've been getting out doing the same runs. He said they had done counselling through divorces, through loss, through promotions and work, through business ideas. These guys, through this bond of running, were setting the world alight. They were fixing the whole world, their world. And they were just stronger people. The man was an absolute machine just from running. So I'm walking around and running at the same time, and walking and running and walking and running. We're all having a chat. We're having a bit of crack, talking about anything from what beer we like, to what music we like, to what gigs we've been at, the inspiring stories, sharing stuff about books, about races we've done, and war stories, and a tour this and a tour that, and I was really in pain, and it was just class. It was just so much fun had on that run, and it was totally alien. It was like nothing I had ever done. It's the only sport I know where you pretty much get lost in the middle of the night in the pitch black. All you have is a head torch and a couple of arrows that point up every now and again to tell you where to go. We were even so underprepared for it. I think between the 3 of us we had 1 water bottle, and it didn't matter. We got to an aid station, we had to fill it up, and it was just pure crack. It was an absolute story to tell. So much so we got right up to the top. We're coming down, it's freezing cold, but the spirits were high. And we were just on form, and it was just one of them moments where I thought, you know what, I need more of this in my life. I need that community, I need the camaraderie, I need the storytelling, I just need more of it, and I need the challenge, and that feeling of quitting. And then I was just like, why on earth am I quitting? I'm capable of so much more. So pretty much as it went on, there was 3 miles to go, the last 3 miles, and Mark turned around to us and said, you know, lads, I'm not running the last bit here. I want a wee bit of time to myself. And I thought to myself, don't really want to leave him, but this is the man's wish. So me and Ivan ran the last 3 miles. I think we'd walked a couple of miles before that. And it was just amazing. That feeling of crossing the line, the marathon part of the Ironman was my favourite bit. It was the most challenging bit. It was the only bit during the whole thing that I was certain I was going to quit, and I did not quit. I crossed the line, got the medal, handed a beer. It was one of the best feelings in my life. It was just incredible, and that's what I took from it. From the run was just that sense of community, the characters you meet, the stories you hear, the fun, but just that whenever you're on the edge, you think your body is to the limit, you're done. You know, your head's convinced your body that you're done, and you just take that wee minute, and my tool was It was like a mental health check of my whole body. So I was feeling sorry for myself, and you know, my head's telling me to quit. But the thing that kept, you know, one foot going in front of the other was, right, Mark, okay, feeling work, okay, what happens now? So I'm running along, the next thing was, right, how's your head? Well, you're talking to me. I'm starting to talk to myself while I'm running, but I go, right, I'm okay, you know, I can function, I can think, I can see, I'm not seeing double, we're all right. How's your shoulders? Shoulders are fine, loosened them up there as I went, shoulders are good, right, okay, how's your core, how's your back? All good, feeling loose, don't feel tight, don't feel twinges, feeling great. Okay, how's your legs? Legs are tired, but they're not cramping up. I don't feel any spasms, I don't feel any tightness. They're just heavy and tired. They're like, right, okay, but they're still able to go, How's your feet? Feet are perfect. Feet are, you know, I don't feel the cold in my feet anymore, my feet are good. And then all of a sudden, you know, you go to yourself, right, physically, I'm good. So it is just up here, up in your head, that telling you that you need to quit. And I mean, that's it, you know, your head will quit before your body does. And running puts you in that scenario. Running puts you there, and you know, you can then have this incredible moment where it is then your mind, you've took control of your own head, your own mind, your own thoughts. It's almost like there's a wee nagging voice in there, but you as the person, you know, Mark Gallagher went, you know what, hold on a wee second, you're talking out your backside, you're perfectly fine, and we're going to get through this. And running puts you in them scenarios, and once I've done that, that's what I want more of. I want more of those scenarios, only on a bigger scale. You know, you hear of the David Goggins of this world, and you know, I'm sure everybody's watched the Barkley Marathons documentary, and you know, you watch anything by Billy Yang on, you know, why run 100 miles and all this sort of thing. And that's what they're chasing. You know, they're chasing, it's almost like the miles doesn't matter. They're just running whatever it is and building up until whatever it is, until they are in that hurt, until they are face to face with that bit in their head that says you can't go any further. But then they manage to get this something about themselves, this extra bit that they didn't know they had, or you didn't know you had, and all of a sudden you're challenging your own head, and you're pushing yourself further than you've ever been. And yeah, that is why I love running, and that's why I do it near enough every day of the week, and that's why I put myself out there. That's why I started our own running club, for that sense of community. And we have guys there, you know, we've guys out there now that up until last year hadn't ran a marathon, but they are on that same journey now. They're wanting to run a marathon. There's guys there that were contemplating doing ultras as well. One of the guys that was out was one night, he thought about it, and then family commitments sort of came in, and I think he's teetering on the edge. He'll probably want to start something again soon. There was other guys who kept it shy that were out running with us, and then all of a sudden they pop up on their Strava that they've completed a marathon, and it's just such a cool thing, you know. Years ago you had this sort of running, you know, you do that to get fit to do other sports, but it's so much more than that, you know. I'm not in it for the medals and the to win, you know. I don't think there's much of a mission of that, unless I'm the only one that turns up, but it's amazing, that sense of challenge and committing to something to get through it. That's the secret sauce, that's the good stuff, that's the nectar for me. That's in running. So as you can tell, I'm a wee bit passionate about it. I've managed to waffle on for 20 minutes about it, but yeah, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you share the same enthusiasm and the same love for it, or your idea of running could be sprint distance, but you still have to torture yourself and put yourself through grueling punishment in order to get splits of a second. If you're a middle distance runner, again, you are throbbing lungs, throbbing, pumping heart rate, throbbing, pumping legs. You know, you're on the edge of it too. It's just what happens. Mine, I like that challenge of that long game and just how brutal it can be on everything. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed listening to me ramble on about how much I love running. But it is great. If you're on the fence and you haven't, if you're listening to this podcast and it's inspired you to lace up a running shoes, just go and do it. Do it to the point where you enjoy it. And if you want to go out 7 days a week, knock yourself out. Go out 7 days a week. If you want to go and run 30 miles at your first run, here, you go for it. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. So good for your head. You know, it clears your head beyond belief. I know my morning runs, I love running with people. You know, that sense of community and that camaraderie. The other great thing is running by yourself. I'll tell you another story. I'll maybe not go into as much detail, but you know, it's a type of moment you almost wish there was like a film crew with you. It is like a real life sort of movie Rocky moment. It was the last run that I did prior to the Ironman, and I went out for a 5 mile run and got to like 2 or 3 miles at the point where I was going to turn back. I was like, you know what, I'll be wanting to do more, so let's just go do more. So I ran on the 5 miles thinking maybe I'll come back at that. Ran on some more. All of a sudden I found myself 10 miles away from my house, but it was all downhill. It was I live up on the hill called it's the Cave Hill, and pretty much ran down to the centre of Belfast. It was 10 miles away, and obviously I needed to make it home. I was excited, anxious, nervous about the race, and you know, I almost didn't want this to stop because this was the last wee bit before the real test. And I decided, right, well, let's torture ourselves a bit. Let's go for it. Let's see what you've got a wee bit. And pretty much there's two routes. The route I came down was the downhill route, which is very, very slow, or sort of very gradual slope, and it's quite fast. And obviously I could have went back that way and made a 20 mile, but I decided more or less to do the 5 mile climb to the Napoleon's Nose at the top of the Cave Hill. Run about a mile into it, got to a set of shops about a mile away, and the wind started picking up, and I was like, this is tougher, this is great, you know, this is good stuff, this is getting me in the zone. And Rocky Hearts on Fire, no, it wasn't Rocky Hearts on Fire, it was Eye of the Tiger, came on my playlist, because that's just the type of thing that I listen to and I love it. So I'm running on, other music comes on, and then it was what's the other Rocky song? Hearts on Fire, or no, it wasn't Hearts on Fire, it was Eye of the Tiger. And it was another Rocky song came on about 2 miles, and then literally the wind and the rain was pelting down. You couldn't see in front of you. I was like a drowned rat. I was soaked. But then Hearts on Fire did come on about a mile away from the top, and it's more or less vertical. It's from a place called the Hightown Road to the Napoleon's Road, and it's more or less vertical up, and I went for it. I pretty much emptied the tank, going right to the top. People in cars were looking at me like I had escaped from somewhere, and I did not care. The music was in my ears. It was a soundtrack. I was in my own movie, and I was blasting my way up to the top of the hill. and it was at the top of the hill. I was so near tempted to be sitting there shouting Drago, but I didn't. But it was amazing. I was at the top. It was so cool. And again, that's another thing that running gives you. It gives you those moments, and you can tell a wee story like that. And it was just pure class. So I'll leave you with that. On the fence about getting out and running, go do it. If you love running, keep it up. I'm with you. I'm all for it. And soon I'm going to announce the races that I am doing. But again, I'm super excited. Super excited for the challenge that's ahead. And just to promote the sport and to promote what good it does. I do genuinely love it. So listen, really thank you for listening to me ramble on now for 30 minutes talking about running. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the same enthusiasm, and I can't wait for the next episode. Again, I'll put this up on YouTube, and it'll be up on I posted on Anchor, but it'll go on Spotify, Apple Music, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, everything. It'll be on there. If you fancy getting in touch with me, I'll put up links for email or my blog, Modern Man, Modern Expectations, and you can follow what we're doing on there too. And yes, please do get in contact. A few people have got in contact, and it's really cool, and that's the type of thing that I was wanting to talk about and share and create a bit of community. So far, and this is now going to be the third podcast, but the first two have opened the doors, and people are getting in touch, and I'm really loving the sense of community so far. So listen, thanks very much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. All the best. Bye.